As the first cold winds blow down from the Arctic, northern Alaska awakens to a breathtaking sight. Thousands of moose begin their long migration. They cross snowy plains, ford icy rivers, climb hills, and push through forests, all to reach a safe place where they can survive and give birth. This isn't just a story of survival. It's a journey of endurance between a wild creature and a land of relentless challenge. But the climate is changing. The snow melts earlier. The rivers no longer freeze as they once did. The paths these herds once followed are slowly disappearing. Now the migration is harder than ever before. Still, they try, they keep moving, but no one knows how much longer they can. Northern Alaska, the spectacular migration of moose across the frozen wilderness. Amid the frozen forests and misty wetlands of Alaska, a creature moves, silent, massive, ancient, its stillness more awe-inspiring than motion. This is no ordinary deer. This is the moose, the largest hoofed mammal in North America, and a living symbol of the northern wilderness. Standing nearly 2 meters tall at the shoulder, weighing as much as a small car, and crowned with antlers that stretch wide like twin propellers fused to its skull, the moose is a strange blend of raw power and perfect adaptation. Its antlers can weigh up to 30 kilograms. They fall off at the end of each winter, only to regrow in spring, like a changing crown, renewed in rhythm with the wild. In summer, they are often seen strolling along the forest edges, crossing grassy valleys, calmly grazing on tender shoots in the early morning mist. But when winter arrives, when everything freezes and life falls into silence, these massive animals reveal an astonishing skill. They can swim across frigid lakes and dive deep to reach aquatic mosses, one of the few remaining food sources. Despite their bulky frames, moose are expert swimmers, capable of crossing rivers and swimming for kilometers in water colder than 5 degrees Celsius. In Alaska's ecosystem, moose play a vital role, both as prey for grizzly bears and wolves, and as a natural force that helps regulate the growth of vegetation along forest edges. Yet no matter how strong or well-adapted they are, moose cannot remain in one place all year. They must migrate because winter habitats can no longer provide the conditions they need to survive. When snow begins to fall heavily, sometimes more than a meter deep, they can no longer access their main food sources, mosses, lichens, and low-growing grasses. Unlike some animals that hibernate or store food, Moose must keep moving to find enough energy to sustain their massive bodies. In sub-zero temperatures, an adult moose requires around 9,000 kilocalories per day, but winter forage typically provides only 5,000 to 6,000. If they stay put, they quickly lose weight and strength, even while still eating. Young moose are at even greater risk. They chill easily, tire quickly, and may not survive if they don't leave deep snow regions in time. For pregnant females, lingering too long in extreme cold can result in miscarriage or weak calves at birth. That's why they are often among the first to begin migrating, seeking safer grounds for giving birth. In other words, migration is not just instinct, it is survival, a necessity, not a choice, to escape the deep cold, food shortages, and the risks of a harsh, unforgiving winter. The migration of Alaska's moose begins in the late stages of autumn, typically from late September to earlier mid-November. This is when temperatures drop sharply, snow starts to blanket the highlands, and daylight hours become noticeably shorter. Herds scattered across the northern tundra, such as the plains near the Colville River or the northern foothills of the Brooks Range, begin their southward journey, heading toward open forests where snow is lighter and the climate is slightly more forgiving for overwintering. Depending on where they start and the terrain they face, migration distances can vary widely. Some herds move just 50 to 100 kilometers, while others, especially those deep in the mountains, may travel over 300 kilometers. For animals as heavy-bodied and slow-moving as moose, this is no simple journey. The migration takes place over several weeks, sometimes more than a month if the weather becomes unpredictable. The path is rarely straight. Moose typically follow ancient routes passed down through generations, along frozen rivers, forest edges, or through low-lying valleys where the snow is thinner and easier to traverse. Many parts of the route cut through rugged terrain, including mountain bases, frozen marshes, or sparse woodland. They travel in groups with a stable structure. Adult females lead the way, calves are kept in the middle for protection, and adult males often follow behind or form smaller separate bands. Each day, the herd may cover between 10 and 30 kilometers, depending on the terrain and availability of food along the way. They tend to move in the early morning or late afternoon, resting around midday and at night. Temporary resting spots are chosen carefully. Areas with low shrubs or unfrozen water sources are preferred, offering both shelter and the chance to forage. The journey continues in this steady, cautious rhythm until they reach the southern forests, places with just enough to survive the brutal winter ahead. Predators are always watching. Gray wolves and grizzly bears, Alaska's most iconic hunters, often take advantage of the migration period to ambush vulnerable individuals. Today is the 10th day of the journey. The sky is blanketed in thick gray clouds. A northern wind howls through the sparse trees lining the valley. A herd of more than 20 moose makes its way across deep, soft snow, following the bed of a dried-up stream. The calves stay in the center, the mothers lead the way, and a few strong bulls take up the rear guard. But they don't know. They're being watched. Not far behind, a pack of 6 gray wolves is silently tracking them. The wind blows in the opposite direction, masking their scent. Wolves don't strike at random. They observe, wait for a mistake, and choose the perfect moment. All it takes is one calf falling behind, or a break in formation. Then they'll move. Gray wolves are patient, tactical hunters. They can follow prey for tens of kilometers, coordinating through glances and subtle gestures, never wasting a sound. The moose are beginning to sense danger. A few seconds of unease pass. Then the herd starts to accelerate. But the soft snow makes their steps heavy. One calf stumbles into a hollow, and in that instant, 3 wolves break formation, darting like arrows into the gap. The lead cow looks back, jerks her head, and turns around, joined by 2 bulls at the rear. They don't flee. They form a defensive ring, facing the predators. One large bull lowers his head, antlers wide and ready, a silent warning. In moments like these, wolves don't act foolishly. They know the difference between an opportunity and the risk of injury. In a flash of tense stillness, the wolves halt, growl low, then retreat a few steps. The fallen calf is pulled upright, stumbling back into the safety of the herd. The hunt has failed, but the wolves don't give chase. They know they've been seen, and any reckless attack now could cost them blood. They watch for a moment, then turn and disappear into the distant trees. The moose herd resumes its journey, quieter now, slower, but still intact. No one was lost. The journey stretches on for dozens more kilometers, and life goes on. This time they survived, thanks to their instinct to protect one another, the strength of their bond, and a little luck in the face of a harsh wilderness. Three days after the encounter with the wolves, the snow begins to thicken noticeably. Temperatures drop to minus 20 degrees Celsius. Wind lashes across the white ground in bursts. The herd has passed the northern edge of a low mountain range and is approaching a valley with lighter snow cover, a place that has served as a short resting stop for many winters. Its familiarity makes them slightly less cautious. But this place is not entirely safe. In this region, grizzly bears don't always hibernate on time, especially when autumn lingers or the weather becomes erratic. They remain active longer to gather extra energy, and migrating megafauna like moose make rare and tempting targets. A mature male grizzly, with dark fur and a high-humped back, has caught the scent of the moose herd from afar. It doesn't need to track them like wolves do. It waits. As the herd pauses to rest, the bear approaches, not hiding, not hesitating. The crunch of breaking snow under its feet makes one bull at the rear snap its head around. But it's too late. The grizzly doesn't target the bull. It charges directly at a young cow, clearly exhausted after the long journey. Panic erupts. Calves scatter. Cows circle. The air filled with hooves pounding snow and a roar tearing through the stillness. The bull lunges, antlers lowered, but the bear doesn't back down. It is too fast, too strong. Within seconds, the young cow is brought down. The herd has no choice but to leave her behind. It's a harsh truth, but a familiar one in nature. When one can no longer be protected, the others must go on to save the rest. The bear doesn't chase. It lowers its head to the fallen moose, scrapes back snow, and begins the meal that may carry it through winter. In the distance, the herd regathers and moves on, away from danger. A small gap now mars their otherwise tight formation. No one looks back, but every step is heavier. It's the cost of survival, because life in the wild is not promised to all, and sometimes the price is the life of one of their own. The next day, the sky turns a pale blue, one of the rare signs of temporary calm. The wind remains bitter, but no more snow falls. The herd continues south, passing through a sparse birch forest, marked by antler scars left by those who came before. Despite the loss, their pace remains steady, their formation intact. By midday on the 18th day, the herd crosses a narrow mountain pass and steps into a lowland along the Yukon River. Here the snow is thinner, patches of autumn grass still peek through the ground, and low willow shrubs hold on to a few darkened leaves. A few unfrozen ponds reflect the faint winter sun. They have reached their winter refuge. One by one, their pace begins to ease. Calves lie down to rest, quietly leaning into their mothers. The bulls nibble bark and begin to mark territory. No more howling wind, no scent of wolves, no sign of bears. Only steady breaths and the soft sound of snow falling at the forest's edge. It is not an ideal place, but it is enough for the moose to survive the winter. The herd will remain here until the ice melts, the grass returns, and spring finds its way back. In the silence of Alaska's deep forest, the migration has ended. Not perfect, but enough to carry the cycle of life forward.